Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. Today I'm actually joined by a very special guest to discuss a topic that I know many of you are passionate about, the current state of the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. And to talk about that, I'm thrilled to welcome Sam, the creator behind the YouTube channel TGS Anime.
How's it going? It's lovely to be here.
Yeah, so for those of you guys who might not be familiar, TGS Anime is just kind of this treasure trove of Yu-Gi-Oh anime content. He makes content where it's just like, he does these in-depth breakdowns of some of the most iconic duels in the series, and also he does deep dives into archetype lore and card support and just kind of a lot of things like that, really. Given the kind of unique place that the franchise is in right now, I really couldn't think of a better or more knowledgeable person to have on to get their perspective. So, Sam, thanks again for joining me.
No problem. I have a lot to say on the subject because it's my bread and butter.
Yeah, and there's so much going on with the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. I wanted to talk about so many things like, when are we going to get our next Yu-Gi-Oh anime, like the sort of ninth anime? What's going on with like a reboot? How would you feel about that? How do you feel about like the Chronicles promos and also like Rush Duel and stuff? So we're going to get into it with, I think, the best place to start being, what do you feel is the current state of like Yu-Gi-Oh's anime as like a whole, as a brand or as a franchise?
It depends who you are, really. Like, if you are somebody that's following the Rush anime, you've had some content recently. Like, the Yu-Gi-Oh Go Rush has just finished in 2025. I'm not sure how many months ago that was, but you've had a couple years of that. But if you're someone like me that like really prefers the Master Duel series where they're playing the proper main game, it's been a hot minute. It's been about 8 years, I think, since the last series, Yu-Gi-Oh Vrains. So it's been a while. I feel like, yeah, I haven't had anything in a very long time.
Yeah, it's been a real drought, and I've always kind of been, I find myself thinking like, they're gonna announce it at the next either like Tokyo Game Show, but then, or not actually game show. I guess it'd probably be like Jump Festa or something.
Yeah.
When maybe they'll announce the next anime, but then like each year passes and they don't. And I do want to get more of your thoughts on the Yu-Gi-Oh Sevens and Yu-Gi-Oh Go Rush before we actually get into talking about what a future anime could look like. So
Yeah.
when you saw initially, when you saw Yu-Gi-Oh Sevens, what did you think about it?
I thought it was fine. Like, it was very obviously tailored more to a younger audience, which is something that Konami needs to do because the main game is so combo focused, so heavy. They even say in the first episode of Rush, like, the kids are like, Yu-Gi-Oh's become too stagnant, it's too much for like grown-ups, so they create that spin-off style of Yu-Gi-Oh. So I don't blame Konami for making an anime tailored more towards a younger demographic, and
Right.
I watched a couple episodes of it. I thought it was good, but it didn't scratch that itch for me. It wasn't exactly what I wanted. So yeah,
I also agree. I was just gonna say, like, I mean, I think that the younger, it's interesting because I do think that there's sort of an inflection point for me with like a younger cast. Like, we've had characters like Yuma and I think even like Yuya. They're on the younger side of protagonists. Like, they're not even high schoolers, maybe like middle schoolers.
14 less than, I think. Yeah.
Yeah, like 13, 14. But I think that, like, for me, when I first saw Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, I was like, okay, this is like just too young. Like, it feels like I'm not really able to like relate to the cast as much, like, because they're at Goha Elementary, and I'm just like, okay, it's I mean, I feel like I do need a little bit more than this. And so what about like Go Rush? Now that's the sequel, and it's a little different. Have you engaged with that at all?
So I've only watched a few episodes of Rush and Go Rush. Go Rush, I only watched, I think, 2 episodes just to sort of get the vibe because I didn't know if it was going to be like a sequel or like a completely different series. But it seems fine. It's interesting because they've got like main characters that are a brother-sister duo. So that's like the first time we've had a female lead in the Yu-Gi-Oh series as well, which is pretty cool. But again, it's just more of Rush, which is a fine game, but it just feels like more for a younger audience.
I actually was gonna ask you as well about like Rush Duel, the product. Have you engaged with that? I mean, I guess it's kind of difficult because I know it's really the physical cards are only available in Japan. There are ways to play it here. Like, I know we have it in Duel Links, and I think it got a Nintendo Switch game. How much of that have you played or collected at all?
All I've touched is I played the Switch game. Played a bit of that. Enjoyed it. I think Rush is actually a really fun way to play. And when that Duel Links Rush World came out, I had a little dabble on that, but I'm not a big fan of Duel Links. I think it's a bit too expensive to build decks and stuff in that. But no, I think the game of Rush is solid. I hope it does well, but I do put a line between Rush Duel and the Master
And, like, the
game.
master
So
role, yeah.
yeah.
I also think that, like, part of why I was not able to get into Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens, I mean, like, outside of just its kind of the younger demographic targeting, it's also just that, like, because we did not have Rush Duel in
Yeah,
kind
that
of, you know,
hurts
the physical
quite a
product
lot.
at stores and stuff, I think that also disconnected me some from the anime. Like, I might have wanted to follow
Mm.
along more if I was seeing, you know, the characters on the screen are using cards that I can go out and get, which that is something I wanted to talk about. We'll probably get into a little bit later, but yeah, I think like that was actually a big part of what I think, because I mean, Rush Duel got a dub, I know, and or Yu-Gi-Oh! Sevens like was dubbed, so
Yeah.
it definitely was.
They just
out
never made the
here.
cards here.
Yeah, the cards just weren't here, and so okay, what about then the next like Yu-Gi-Oh Master Rule anime? Like, we're leaving off on, I guess, the end of Vrains. How did you feel about Vrains, and where would you see a next Yu-Gi-Oh anime go?
Vrains was probably the most adult of all the series, which I think people wanted. Like, the core audience for Yu-Gi-Oh, I think now, based on like my analytics and everything, is, or at least the people that watch my channel, it sort of skews a little bit older. I feel like
Same.
if you followed the series from the start, you're probably late 20s, early 30s, mid 30s for some, about now. So a more mature main character makes sense. Vrains was good. It was very rushed towards the end, and you can feel it in the actual story. And I have some problems with modern Yu-Gi-Oh on screen with some of the duels.
Yeah,
It's fine,
talk
but
about that.
it
Actually, I want to hear, because I feel like we probably have a similar view of this
yeah.
issue.
To me, I always describe it as like in old Yu-Gi-Oh, like a monster in Yugi's deck. It probably didn't do very much, but he summons this soldier of stone into defense. It feels like an important-ish monster, even though it gets like tribute later. Whereas with Vrains, it's like I summon Bitcoder, I link it away into transcode. That summon, this summons that summon. It's like loads of like waffle monsters.
Yeah.
So a lot of the
Monsters,
cards
I like that.
don't have much like importance to the story, and it feels like a lot of what happens in between making the board and getting to it. I don't know, it's just the problem with focusing on modern day Yu-Gi-Oh, which is so fast paced. And I'm trying to think of
know.
like, how do you get people that are young trying to get into the series? Because that'd scare you off seeing something like that, like high summons.
It's interesting too, because I think in addition to maybe it being a little intimidating, like I do feel that I think we sometimes underestimate maybe like, you know, the idea of a younger player being able to pick Yu-Gi-Oh up. But what I do think is still a problem is just that it kind of consumes a lot of screen time with, like, you know, having characters just say like, okay, like I summon this, I link this, I summon this, and I link this off, and I summon this, and then like it links off, and like I feel like it kind of can, it's like the term waffle monsters, it just kind of makes each monster feel not terribly important. They're just kind of like lines in a long chain, and I think it eats up screen time and sort of makes it where like it's harder to, at least for me, because I watched some of Vrains like at the beginning, and I also watched the last two duels, and I remember watching like Soulburner versus Revolver, and like Soulburner goes through basically the whole Salamangreat combo, which by Yu-Gi-Oh standards today isn't even all that long for like, you know, typical TCG thing, but still it was just very like, you know, like he uses Spinny, he uses Jaguar, he uses like, you know, he double link summons the Salamangreat monsters, and it's just so
it does better represent the game of Yu-Gi-Oh, to be fair, than like keep sending people back to the original series. So that is one of the biggest pluses, I guess.
It's a line they have to walk,
accurate.
I think.
Yeah.
Like, is how much do you want this to reflect the proper game versus is it, you know, are you going too far into the whole like, okay, we're spending, you know, several minutes on a very long combo, and like people kind of just want the footnotes version of that.
I wonder how hard it is for like the animators, the people that like choreograph the duels.
Oh, I bet
for
it's
the more
so
modern
hard.
decks. I don't even know how you would do that. I guess you just start from the end and work backwards or something. That
It's kind of funny you ask, because like I've had to try to do that like on our channel. Like we've kind of tried to do like anime themed duels, and sometimes, you know, you run into this issue of like the way that a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh cards work today is
Mm.
they kind of will like negate a lot of stuff. And so you almost like if I was having a duel between two anime characters, like let's say like Yusei and Jack, and I wanted to make like a
Yeah.
modern day rendition of their decks. Well, like if Yusei goes first, his turn's gonna take a long time because it's gonna summon a bunch of Stardust things and junk synchron stuff, like junk speeder. And then when Jack's turn comes around, because like we ran into this issue, was like, in what world would my 3 cosmic quasar dragons not just negate everything that he
Yeah.
does? So you have to kind of like, at least for us, like we always found like we have to like find
Choreograph
like
the duel a little bit.
choreograph it, find a stopping point for the turn, and then kind of like
Yeah.
suspend your disbelief about what this character would or wouldn't interact with their opponent, you know.
A funny story about that with specifically Yu-Gi-Oh! Vrains. I don't know how true it is. It could be just one of those like urban myth things, but the person who choreographs the duels in the duel between Soulburner and Blue Angel, I think he said, I can't remember who it was. He said that Soulburner's deck was so good with the Salomon Greats, they had to basically nerf him so that he wouldn't win every single duel or something like that. But specifically in that duel, I don't know how Blue Angel lost so many duels, because every duel that I've analyzed so far that she's done, she should have won with a 4,000 life point meta with her Trickstar Burn deck. But
I know, yeah.
Funny.
But it is funny though, because like I mean, I do think like if you were making a new Yu-Gi-Oh anime, even newer than like Vrains, you'd run into so many of those issues. And I guess that's actually kind of a good segue then into like, you know, Yu-Gi-Oh 9. We're gonna, for the sake of our conversations, we'll just call it, you know, the 9th Yu-Gi-Oh anime. We have gotten no announcement of this. First of all, like, how likely do you think that this is? Like, do you think that they're just kind of biding their time, like, and they've got something in store? Do you think that they're actually maybe afraid to make a new Yu-Gi-Oh anime or aren't able to for some reason?
I think there's some truth in that. Yeah, maybe they're not quite ready to put a new one out just yet. But I do think one will come eventually, but I'm not sure what it'll be. Whether it'll be Rush or, you know, continuation of the Master series. So
I think the passing of Kazuki Takahashi, I would not be surprised if that kind of stalled on conception and development of a new anime. Like I know that in the later ones he was not nearly as involved, but it's kind of
just contributed some arts and some monsters.
Yeah, like, he just kind of contributes some designs, and I think he probably gives like the general okay of just like, yeah, this looks good, go ahead with it, like you guys design the actual thing. And you know, not to like put any words in his mouth, of course, but like that's my general understanding of his relationship with it. I think that with him, you know, passing, that might have delayed a lot of things, but like I know that because Rush Duel, the product, still exists and is still running and still getting new stuff, it does make me worry that like it could just be a third Rush anime or something, you know, and I don't want that. You know, yes, no, how do you, like, what do you think's more likely?
I mean, it probably is more likely they'll do Rush. It just depends on how well it's doing at the moment. I don't know the figures, if it's performing well. I assume it's doing well in Japan. I would want a Master Series next year.
I agree too. I think that there's something that I feel like happens when we don't have an ongoing Yu-Gi-Oh anime series, is actually that like it affects kind of the physical card game a lot as well, because you're no longer, like, at least as I've seen it, we're kind of no longer getting an anime to follow along with the card releases. Do you ever like feel that way?
It attaches some good value to the cards, doesn't it? Like, I remember watching Yu-Gi-Oh GX, seeing Zane Truesdale summon Cyber End Dragon. I'm like, what? A 4,000 double attack with Power Bond? I need to get these cards right now. But there's nothing really like that anymore. And
that's what gets you into the Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, the actual card game, is you watch it, you think it's cool, and you start playing it. I don't know how many people watch the people physically play it and decide I want to get into it. I'm sure that does happen, but it's typically the anime. That's normally the gateway what gets people in. And so without one, I feel like they're missing out on a part of their audience.
Yeah, you don't get the on-ramp. And I also think like it's, you know, you now don't have anything to follow along with as sets come out, because I remember like it's been this way for a lot of the earlier Yu-Gi-Oh anime series of like a character summons a new boss monster in the show or some just new ace iconic thing, and then like it comes out in the game. And so like you have that double tag team of like, saw it in the show, now you want to pull it from your next pack and like put it in your next deck. Like, you know, Joey got Jinzo, and now like you can pull Jinzo. Pegasus summoned like Thousand Eyes Restrict, you can pull Thousand Eyes Restrict. Like, I think, and that's continued. I remember even in the Vrains era, like the Arc-V and Vrains era, where sometimes, particularly for Vrains, the decks that the players were using in the show were like all, or many of them were like meta decks, or like, you know, competitive contenders in tournaments. So like literally, you know, Trickstar and Altergeist and like Goki were meta decks. And
I mean that's the best case scenario, isn't
right?
it? You're pushing for casual viewers, and then the meta people like, yeah, I'm gonna build this, absolutely.
And it's like, yeah, you get best of both worlds. And so I feel like without that happening, I have sometimes felt that the regular card game we're still getting a lot of legacy anime support, and I don't want to say that that's bad by any means.
I appreciate it. I'm glad we still get some.
But it also kind of is, it feels like, well, you know, how many times can you retread old ground here? Like, I don't mind a new Utopia form, or like a new Ubel fusion, or like a new Raid Raptor, but still, it would maybe be cool if I could see something that a character in the anime is like actively using in an actively airing anime, I guess.
Yeah.
Thematically, what do you want to see in one? Like a Yu-Gi-Oh 9, like, do you want, you know, what sort of protagonist, what kind of setting do we want? Like a, you know, like what are we thinking about?
His name has to begin with U. That's that's a given. If we're following the trend of a new Yu-Gi-Oh series, Yu-Gi-Oh 9, or the 8th mainline series one, I guess. Sorry, 7th mainline series.
I guess it'd be the 7th mainline, 9th total, right? I think,
I mean, they've always added a new mechanic in every single one. Like Fusion became more prevalent in GX, then Synchro Xyz, Pendulum, which was not everyone loved it, and then Lynx. Not everyone loved it. I don't mind Lynx as much, but I don't know. I'd worry about the game having another mechanic be added to the game at that point. I'm sure they could do something a bit more tasteful, something less impactful, but I don't know. It adds a lot to it.
I do feel like we kind of just have so many, at least, and this is just talking the physical like TCG game. I feel like we have more than enough mechanics to contend with. I mean, I know that they've got like Genesis formats already taking out like Lynx and Pendulums because like people don't.
Well,
really
we'll
like
take those
them.
out. Pendulum and Lynx, you'd have to worry about them.
But I do think like there could still be a lot to be like. One approach I really liked was like Arc-V, where they just did like worlds that were sort of based on a type of something. So like, even though they introduced pendulums, there's also just like, okay, this is like the synchro dimension, this is like the Xyz dimension, the fusion dimension. So like, it didn't always feel like you were just being pushed towards only the new summoning mechanic, but also like it's a way of sort of celebrating.
You could pick a favorite with that one, and then towards the end they started implementing, I guess, a couple other mechanics into mainly the main characters deck, so it wasn't too overwhelming really. So you could just pick one summon. Arc-V was a really good series, a great story. It was just kind of disappointing towards the end.
I know that seems to be a trend with the latter Yu-Gi-Oh anime, is like,
they always seem to feel rushed at some point.
Yeah, it seems like, I don't know if they're rushing to get the next series started, or if it's just like a budget kind of has run out type of thing. Like,
I mean, that's something they could address in a new one. They could make just make a simple, I think we've talked about this before, like probably move away a little bit from a more futuristic kind of thing, and maybe keep it a little bit more simple in scope, and even just in terms of story. It doesn't have to be a world-ending story every single time. You can have an element of that in there, but I would love just a little simple story. If we can have a new Yu-Gi-Oh series where Konami wants to push their new meta decks and stuff, include that in the story, make them take part in like an actual World Championship Series tournament.
Have you
could have like 3 main characters, and I think that'd be really cool.
Yeah, it would. Have you heard of Yu-Gi-Oh like OCG Structures? This is like a manga.
Oh, I know of it. I know there's like someone with like a Trap Tricks deck and some other stuff. Yeah,
I have not like formally read it. Alec has. He tells me about it a lot, and like apparently, in that manga they are like using like just real world structure decks, and
oh wow,
like there are characters that use them, and I always thought that would be kind of a cool way of like showcasing real Yu-Gi-Oh products and decks with characters who are not so much like fighting for, again, like fate of the world, but more just low to the ground.
I mean, you can probably draw from actual YCS tournament final duels, and you could make little references, I guess, with the main character going against the guy that brought a stun floodgate deck. He's got all the barrier statues on the field. Like, all right, then what am I supposed to do? But maybe he finds a way out. Maybe, you know,
that could be cool.
There's lots of things they could do with that.
I mean, imagine that, like, he loses to stun, but then like next time he brings evenly matched and like lightning storm, or just, like, you know, another anime that actually does that, believe it or not, that I don't watch a lot of this, but I kind of know of it, is like Cardfight Vanguard. If you've seen any of that, like, it's kind of similar where the characters and like the story is mostly just people, they're kind of like, they go to card shops, they have like a card club at their school, or like they go to card shops and like they prepare for just big upcoming like regionals, and they're literally like playing just with the same cards, in some cases I think even the same packs that you can buy in real life. And I always thought, like, like, what would you think of like a more like just low to the ground Yu-Gi-Oh like that?
That is what I would like to see. I think that'd be quite fun. I didn't think they could do that. Like, I remember, like, obviously the Yu-Gi-Oh dub cards always get censored because you're not allowed to advertise directly to kids. But if they can have cards exactly like that, I mean,
you know what? That's actually a great question. I don't know how Cardfight Vanguard does it. Maybe is it because like it's
maybe the
like
laws have changed or
something? I don't.
Oh, maybe that could be why.
Because
yeah,
if it's just like
the Japanese cards were always fine.
Yeah, I guess that's true. Like, because I just think that'd be really cool. Like, to me, I don't need world-ending stakes.
Is there a physical Cardfight Vanguard game, or is it just digital?
It's physical, yeah.
Oh, okay. Because I watched a couple episodes of Shadowverse, and they have physical cards in that, but that's a completely digital game, so I guess you can't buy them in the real world, so it's not advertising in a sense. So
actually, I think
maybe
there
that's
are
why.
physical Shadowverse cards. Maybe.
Are there? Oh, okay.
I'm not sure. I don't like, because I remember I saw Shadowverse, and I even watched a few episodes of the anime, which I thought was pretty cool. And I know like mostly it's like a digital app, and I know they just got like a new digital app, like a game that's released a couple months ago.
The Worlds Beyond, yeah.
But like, I think that they have physical cards, but don't take my word for that. But yeah,
if there's Witcher the Gwent physical cards, then that definitely exists as well. Then surely.
Another thing too is like, I think and maybe you agree with me on this, I'm kind of like, I don't want to say tired of, that sounds negative, but like, I think that every Yu-Gi-Oh anime has gotten more and more futuristic, like the kind of more like just of the like holographic technology and like the dual gazers and the dual, like, you know, and like Vrains is like literally they're just like, you know, in kind of the internet or whatever, you know, the Vrains.
Yeah.
I kind of would not mind going back from that. Like, I wouldn't mind just either being in present day again, or like possibly even the past. Like, that could be fun.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I agree. Yu-Gi-Oh's always had like the ancient Egyptian sort of ye old fashioned thing tied to it, and it's always had technology kind of attached to it as well. It's like the Kaiba Yugi duality thing.
Yeah.
But we've always seemed to go more and more in the future. You're right, like Zexal, and then Arc-V with their like laser beam dual discs, and then Vrains where you're actually going into the virtual world. It would be nice, yeah, like a medieval Yu-Gi-Oh, something completely wacky. They've got like little wooden Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Because like, I mean, even if like the monsters could still like be summoned through magic as opposed to holograms, and so like you'd still kind of have, you could still like get a lot of the mysticism in there, but just change
you lean more into the mysticism, that's right, rather than the technology, I guess, because that's always been a core part of it. I do want them to stray away from Yu-Gi-Oh plus gimmick kind of thing. Yu-Gi-Oh on surfboards, Yu-Gi-Oh on cars. Yu-Gi-Oh parkour I didn't mind, but I don't really want that again. I want a boots on the ground kind of Yu-Gi-Oh personally.
I think that some of them are cool. It's interesting though to me, because like, at least I noticed with a lot of them, they end up ditching the gimmick like halfway through. Like, like I know like for 5Ds, it's like, okay, card games on motorcycles, turbo duels, and then like it kind of isn't after that. Like, it's just, it's sort of on and off. Like, there's some, but like at some point they kind of are just doing normal duels again. So
I think 5Ds was fine. I didn't mind card games on motorcycles. That was okay. I think they respected it enough. And the parkour pendulum, that was fine. But then you get into the problem where they can just parkour grab whatever they want to get out of any situation.
Yeah, what was that called? That was like the entertainment duels or the
action duels.
Action duels. Yeah. Those are cool. I mean, I think it probably, again, for like a younger audience, probably seemed like, oh, like I can like dive behind this bush and like find a card that will, you know, bail me out.
I guess it makes the duels more more active kind of thing rather than two people standing. But I never minded that before. But I guess I can see the appeal of movement involved in duels.
I would like to maybe see like a female protagonist. How do we feel about this?
I mean, that's something they should do. It's the Go Rush had a male female lead, so that's the closest we've had so far. But with the way that Yu-Gi-Oh has treated women throughout the Yu-Gi-Oh series, they've always got the short end of the stick. So yeah, just give female main character, give her a cool. You don't even have to give her like a female deck, which they always do. Just like
for sure.
Girl character,
yeah, she doesn't have
girls,
to have flower
girls.
girl type stuff. I think she can have a totally like competent. I mean, and like, there's not even a problem with it being one way or the other. I know that when it comes to like introducing a female protagonist, it'd probably be divisive for some fans, but like I think you can still show that like she's just a duelist. Like she's just, you know, she's like a good duelist. It doesn't, you know, have to be.
I guess because Yu-Gi-Oh is technically shonen, they always have main characters that are male. But
true.
If there's any kind of what's it called, media that like always has female characters, it's anime. They always get away with anime girls. So
they
like,
also
totally do it.
And like you said, like they've treated female characters so badly in past Yu-Gi-Oh. Like my thing is they always seem to get like kidnapped and like brainwashed or something. Or like, you know, manipulated in some way.
Almost always guaranteed. I think Carly Karma, I think I did a video on recently. They do a big thing with her and Jack, and then she just gets absolutely shafted after that season. Akiza apparently does nothing. She's like an absolute badass when she's introduced, and then she becomes one of the good guys, and you barely see her again. Mai is another one. She does nothing after Duelist Kingdom.
Mai is like so just forever upsetting as a character because they really like kind of they talk her up to be like this very good duelist, like kind of on the same tier as like Yugi and Kaiba, like she's won tournaments and like she's a real threat. And then like you just kind of see her lose in most of her duels. Something
I noticed, I did a bunch of videos about the whole like Yu-Gi-Oh series, and in the two spin-off seasons, the Virtual World arc and the Awaken the Dragons arc, that's where you actually get the best female representation, weirdly enough, stuff that wasn't canon to the story, because you got like Serenity Wheeler dueling in that one, Taya clapping Crump with the Dark Magician girl.
Oh yeah,
and then
I remember that.
Waking the Dragons, you have, I think Rebecca Hawkins does get defeated, but you got Mai having a more active role in that one. And I actually think in the what's it called now, the Grand Championship.
Yeah, Grand Championship. I know Rebecca's pretty prominent.
She gets quite far in that tournament as well. So, but then you never get that outside of those seasons, unfortunately.
I guess it really does get back to that. Just like it's shonen at the end of the day. Like it's you know got to be about like the cool guy and it's a cool also male rival facing the also male antagonist. You know, it's I don't and to be clear, I mean I don't even think that like we have to have like a female main character, but I would like to see just better general representation of like girls can duel, they can be good at dueling, they can be good guys, they can be bad guys. Like, you know, it can be like
I've seen my YouTube analytics, it's 99% males, so might as well bring that demographic in, get a few more girls involved in the game.
So another thing too is there's a lot of chatter about the idea of a Yu-Gi-Oh reboot instead of a ninth new Yu-Gi-Oh anime. How do we feel about the idea of kind of like going back to Duelist Kingdom, going back to Battle City?
I am an absolute sucker for nostalgia. Obviously, with what I do like the old Yu-Gi-Oh series, but you can tell Konami likes it as well. Like every time you see new products come out, most of the time they'll slap, I'm just trying to gesture in the background, they'll put like Exodia, Slifer on it, Dark Magician, Kaiba will be promoting it or something. So they clearly know that they like to push those things. So I think going back to the original series is something that they could do. I feel like they could do retell the original series story again, but maybe make it much closer to the original manga. Keep a bit of a darker tone if they wanted to. But obviously they want to sell new products. So maybe age up characters' decks, make them a little bit more modern, introduce new cards as those cards are coming out as well, so you can buy things alongside, like we was talking about earlier.
Are we talking like maybe, Weevil playing like, I don't know, Battle Wasp, or no, what is like the insect archetype? Like, are we talking? I guess like just characters are like sort of like Mako's got mermails, and like Rex Raptor has like Soul Eating Oviraptor and stuff like that kind of thing.
Yeah, I guess for characters that never had any modern day support, you got to give them something that fits. You could throw in a couple of their like iconic monsters that they've had like retrains for and stuff.
Oh yeah, that'd be good. That'd be really good.
I mean, like Mako has like a modern day deck. I guess it's that
that's true.
actual
like
Umi
the
deck.
Sea Stealth.
If you wanted to
Umi
stick it, but like
stuff.
characters like Panic, they've never had support, even though they've got really cool iconic monsters like Castle of Dark Illusions. So you could just give them something else if nothing exists, or they could make new support for the series, really. So that's up to Konami. I don't know how much effort they want to put into it.
I know something I've always thought about with at least characters like Yugi, Kaiba, Joey, and even like Pegasus to some degree, they have gotten so much formal like, retrain support that with Yugi, I noticed in like Duelist Kingdom especially, each of his duels basically introduces one more of his new like ace cards. Like, the duel against Weevil is kind of Gaia the Dragon Champion, and like, the duel against Mai is like Blackluster Soldier. And so each of those cards has gotten kind of its own archetype at this point. Like, just like the evening Twilight Night stuff or whatever for Blackluster Soldier, and then like the Gaia the Fierce Knight got its own line of support. And so it almost made me think like, okay, maybe each of Yugi's duels has just focuses on that stuff. Like,
Yeah.
and then that
Like,
way you kind of get to go through many of the different ones, and each of his duels, they never get like stale because he's always doing a totally new
I mean, that was the
strategy.
problem. If he stuck with like an Exodia deck throughout the entire franchise, how boring would Yu-Gi-Oh have been? Like every duel is just, oh, I drew Exodia again. But that is really cool. Like there's so many different decks that Yugi can draw on now. I mean, his one original Duel Monsters and Battle City deck has become like 20 or something in the real world.
There's several.
So
many.
You could mix up every duel, absolutely.
And
Really
Kaiba's
cool.
got it. Joey's got it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you can even like when Grandpa duels in the KC Grand Championship, he's kind of using these like old rock monsters, but like imagine him actually using that new Millennium.
The Millennium ones,
The
yeah.
Singenja
And he's
and
got
all
like
of that.
his torn in half blue eyes is like the new thingy or something. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, like I think that'd be fun, and it would also promote the cards in real life because they exist, and so
Like every time I think about what I want for a Yu-Gi-Oh franchise, I guess I always have to think about like what does Konami want? They want to make money, which I have absolutely no problem with. To do that, they need to sell products. They need to bring in new viewers and a younger audience. So they need to sort of tailor the show to that to a degree, which I understand. So yeah, I guess it's always the problem of you can't make it too mature. Even though I think kids understand that. Like I used to like some mature shows. You appreciate that tone. It elevates it, but
I know I agree with you. I do think that sometimes we underestimate what kids are like willing to be interested in and engage with on TV. Like I think that it's easy to overcorrect and just be like, okay, we need to make this show have no even subtext to it at all. Like I'm not even talking about Yu-Gi-Oh at this point, but just like a lot of times when people want to make shows for kids, like we must completely drain any subtext, even just the idea of like character growth sometimes becomes like, oh, it's going to be purely episodic. The characters never advance as characters. And I think that kind of like does a disservice to like the kids. Cause I mean, we got into Yu-Gi-Oh, I'm sure partly because of like the kids were in high school. Like they weren't adults, but they were in high school. And like, there was mysticism, the shadow realm, like there were concepts that certainly felt a little heavy, but by no means like were we like terrified of it and like couldn't handle.
They always tended to bring the darker elements a little bit later in the stories as well. Like Yu-Gi-Oh GX starts out as that like quite cheerful school story, and then it gets a little bit darker, and then we get to the final season. You were literally fighting the embodiment of darkness itself.
Yeah.
I think 5D, not 5Ds. Yu-Gi-Oh Arc-V is the same. I guess it's an interdimensional war, but when you get towards the end, I guess it starts to get darker. So yeah, they've always had that kind of aspect to it. And I because I haven't watched all of Rush and Go Rush, like you said, is there a subtext to it? Is there like some
My
thematic
understanding
themes
of
that
sevens
a
is
bit more
like
grown up?
there's none, or
No, it's
not.
just
I
it's
don't want
just a
to say
straight
none,
up.
but like it is very, very much like these kids are just having their duel club at school, and like it kind of
Yeah.
goes only a little past that.
Which is fine, but it does elevate the series, doesn't it? It makes it go from just a show about a card game to an anime with a card game involved, kind of thing, which is always better because it'll
Something
reach a broader
funny
audience.
that I remember reading recently was like in the original, in like the Duelist Kingdom arc, they were basically dueling for healthcare. Like Joey was dueling to
Yeah,
get
they was.
to get like a surgery for his sister. It's like healthcare was the prize. Okay, here's another thing too. If they reboot Yu-Gi-Oh, like we're doing a reboot, what
Yeah.
exactly are we rebooting? Like, are we rebooting, or rather, what would you want to see? Like Duelist Kingdom only? Do we do like Duelist Kingdom and Battle City and then kind of like stop there? Are we going like reboot full on like all the arcs of, like what? What's your pulse check on that?
I would take anything. There'd be no whatever they do, a brand new series, a reboot of just Duel Monsters, a reboot of everything. Anything new is good for me because we're just lacking that much.
Sam is tired. He's like, I'll take whatever you give me. I know what you mean.
I wouldn't mind either way, actually. I wouldn't mind either just a Duel Monsters revamp for nostalgia and sort of going back to that series. And if that does really well, maybe we do GX or something like that. We could finally get that damn last season dubbed.
Oh,
Or
yeah.
alternatively, yeah, like have like little vignettes of just 2 or 3 episodes for each of the Yu-Gi-Oh series. Like, what is everybody up to in the Duel Monsters world nowadays after the series finished? Let's look at Kaiba. He's working at his business. Maybe he's overworking himself. He has an opportunity to unwind with a duel he hasn't done in for absolute ages while he's setting up Duel Academy. You go to GX. What's Zane and his brother Cyrus doing in the Pro League as a tag duo and stuff?
Oh,
I think that'd
that
be
would
really
very
cool. Like
Those-
that way, you also get to introduce their modern decks because it is the future, so you can see what they're up to.
Do you know what's so interesting about this idea that you just said? Is it gave me like almost, I feel like those could be like anime movies. Like, you know how
Yeah.
kind of, like Dark Side of Dimensions is effectively, it's like kind of the epilogue of, the
Yeah.
original like Yu-Gi-Oh manga. And so it almost made me think, well, what if that would, like, we kind of got an epilogue movie of each one? Like, okay, the same for GX, the same for 5Ds. Like, that could be neat. I don't think
That would be cool.
I mean, I think that almost sounds like more of like a side project of sorts, but like it certainly interests me.
Yeah. We don't have that many Yu-Gi-Oh movies. There was rumored there was meant to be a Yu-Gi-Oh GX movie, but then they made the 5Ds movie instead, and then they never made any movies after that apart from Dark Side Dimensions, which was really good.
I've always
They could have done
thought
more.
when it comes to like what material should be rebooted, I know like some people want Yu-Gi-Oh Season 0, which I think is is interesting. I'm not as big on, like, I think it would be a fun 12 episode romp type of thing. Like, it's sort of a spin-off. It's like maybe, a season's worth. But I think that for what would get the most like mainstream appeal and mainstream attention, you do Duelist Kingdom, you do Battle City, and you do like Battle City Finals. And I think you kind of stop it there. Not because I think that the others are bad, like Waking the Dragons or Millennium World or whatever, but mostly just because like I know that is what the most amount of people are purely nostalgic for. And if you're Konami, or not Konami, Studio, what is the studio that does this? Gallop. Studio Gallop and like Shueisha, and you're kind of like, we can greenlight this anime, but maybe we can only like greenlight like 50 episodes or something. Like, we're not gonna do this full like 200 episode thing. I think you go for what the most people know, and so basically it's like Duelist Kingdom, Battle City. You're able to recreate a lot of the high points of like Yugi versus Weevil, Mai versus Joey, like, Panic and Rex Raptor and Bones and all that.
You can flesh those things out a little bit more that they probably didn't get in the original series as well, which is really good.
Exactly. And
it is a shame. I really like the Orichalcos arc, but I do agree with you. I think that and the virtual worlds, the Grand Championship definitely needs to be cut. And
it
then
might be like I feel like it might be And to be clear, like I know people are gonna
It's
hear
too
this
much.
and be
But
like,
Virtual World
I
in the
would
middle of
love.
the Battle City tournament is silly.
I know,
You-
yeah. Like, and to be clear, I love all these arcs. Like, if in a perfect world we just get the whole thing, everything's rebooted and like new decks, better animation, all that. But I just think that like I know that with how like anime kind of goes these days, it's hard enough to even get some anime like greenlit for another season. So like I think that if you're gonna do Yu-Gi-Oh, you gotta like hammer hard with like the guaranteed bangers of like what people know.
It's a shame with not Waking the Dragon. What's the final season called?
Millennium World, I think.
Millennium World. That is not a great Yu-Gi-Oh season because there's like 2 duels. Everything else is like it's my least favorite
It's
of all the
actually
arcs.
also the one that I think the least amount of people have even seen.
Yeah, I don't remember half of what happens in that. I remember Grandpa, the old version, summons Exodia against Zork, and Zork has a giant penis face thing.
Yeah,
because apparently
you know what's
because
funny about
Takahashi was
that?
really tired.
What's
Yeah.
apparently funny, like I don't think I actually watched Millennium World on TV. Like I think that that's the
No.
one season where, because I remember seeing like Waking the Dragons. I kind of remember seeing like some of KC Grand Championship. I think I rewatched that as an adult. But like I think Millennium World, I never saw it like airing. I think it was something that I watched after the fact. So because that was sort of when like GX had started airing as well, and like it.
Yeah.
Or maybe I was just not watching Yu-Gi-Oh at the time. I don't know.
It was fine. I mean, you're just getting to the Yugi versus Yami Yugi duel at the very end, but if anything was going to get a bit of a remaster, throw like a ton more duels into that season. It should be that last season, or just cut straight to the final duel. Just don't go back into the past, I guess.
Believe it or not, what if that was what they did? Like, what if it was like, okay, Duelist Kingdom, right?
Yeah.
We kind of get a little remaster of that. Battle City, so we get all the fun, like iconic, Jinzo, Dark Magician Girl, like Slifer, God cards, whatever. And then we kind of just cut right to the ceremonial duel.
Yeah.
I mean, I know that
Marek's
it sounds
back
abridged,
tattoo,
but like,
and then
yeah, like basically that, like, and then that way we're getting all the high points, and you could probably do that in like 50 episodes if you wanted. I mean, maybe a little more. Like, I think that would be like the safe bet if we're doing reboots. I think like that would get the most amount of pop culture mainline attention. Like, oh my god, guys, like they're rebooting Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, I would be into that. Again, I'll take anything off of them if it's an original series thing. 100%.
Okay, here's a bit of a pivot. What do you think of these Yu-Gi-Oh official card game, The Chronicles? For some context for people who don't know, by the way, just real quick, these are, how would you describe them actually? Like if you had to explain what they are to somebody, because I always struggle with this myself actually. Like,
so Yu-Gi-Oh cards, more newer ones, have like stories attached to them. If you look at the artworks, you can see a stories being told, and they actually have some books, I think, called I forgot the name of them, but they actually do tell a little bit of a story. So Konami's made some small, really short animations which tell some of these stories. So we've had the Sky Striker story told, and we've also had the Fallen of Albaz story told at the moment, with rumors that the next one's going to be the Charmers, which I'm quite excited for. I do like them, but that's it. They're basically the actual stories of the card.
Yeah. How do you feel about them? Because we've had several now. What were your thoughts?
It's something I've always heard people want to say. Like, you've got this amazing lore, why not make stories of them? And now finally seeing it, I think it's cool. They're way too short. I actually found the Sky Striker one a little bit disappointing. I think it was just the way the story was told in that short one. It was a bit repeated and things.
It was the worst to me. I actually, my hot take on the Sky Striker one is that I think it was like their proof of concept. Like,
yeah,
because the Albaz and Ecclesia one is so altogether just better. Like voice acting, pacing, advancing the story. I think that the Sky
Dio
Striker
is the voice of one of the Dogmatica. That you can't go
wrong
wrong
with
that.
Yeah, he's Maximus, I think.
Yeah.
And like I think that with Sky Striker, it was just them kind of like, here's our pilot episode, like proof of concept. It's more just like Ray.
I mean, it makes sense. It's a story about 2 anime girls. Like, if that's going to appeal to anyone, it's that.
Yeah.
But they're too short. And my biggest problem with them is I don't understand what they're for, apart from, because like they've already promoted, because they've got the Konami Animation Studios. That's what that Yu-Gi-Oh Chronicles, the first one, was for. These are coming out as just like, I assume to mainstream people see this animation. Oh, what's this animation for? And bring them to Yu-Gi-Oh. But I don't think that has the effect it's having on just the general public, because no one understands what's going on in the stories too much. I personally think they should be making these animations, because when a new set of cards comes out, make an animation for that new set if it has a story attached to it. Just a short 10-minute thing. Wow, this says the Malice archetype just about coming out. Let's make this Wonderland animation of the main Malice Stormhouse falling into Wonderland. Show all this world and all this stuff. Like, wow, it's really cool. What are these? These are the Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I'll go pick them up. Like, it likens it to like Genshin Impact and games like that, where when a new 5-star character comes out, they put an animation aside of it to hype people up for it, and they put like a music video attached to it. And that's what I would do. I just stick music to these things, and that'd sell like hotcakes.
I'm so glad you mentioned this, because I 2,000,000% agree with you. Like, I think when I first saw these, my biggest question was like, okay, what is this actually for? And I don't mean, like, it's great, it's fan service if you like Albaz, you like Sky Striker Ray, like, that's fine. But I mean, who is it for? Like, what is it meant to do? Because, like you said, like, you know, I've seen like Zenless Zone Zero and Wuthering Waves and Genshin, like, those are cool. There is a new character dropping in the game. They get a cool animation and like music, and it's very exciting. And you know, as soon as you're done, I gotta go like spin for this character. But with this, it's sort of like, well, Sky Strikers have been out for years. Albaz and Ecclesia have been out for years, and now we're about to do Charmers, which like that's been out for decades. And yes, they do release new support for all these decks, but whenever I finish these like Chronicle promo, and I don't even know what to call them, I guess promo animes, I'm just sort of like, okay, what does Konami want me to do next? And who's supposed to see it? Because they're published on the OCG channel, but they're not really placed anywhere else. Like, you know, like, are they going to be maybe used as ads on like other social media? I haven't really seen that. Like,
I mean, I'm only consuming them on YouTube, but I mean, I guess that's the place for them. But
yeah, so
they seem to be more to promote Master Duel things rather than like the whole of Yu-Gi-Oh, I guess. Because whatever they do with the Chronicles, they're putting like little events in Master Duel, I guess.
But you know, they don't even actually mention Master Duel in them. Like,
or do they not? There's not a little thing at the end like, play me now on Master Duel.
Yeah, because at the end they'll always just show an image of the card. It'll be like, okay, here is the card, and that's it. And it's kind of like, they don't, I guess like there could be more of like a connective tissue to be like, okay, like you watch this epic thing, now go play it in Yu-Gi-Oh Master Duel, and at least have like the logo and like something that says like, okay, it's now available as a structure.
Or a little code that says you can get this exclusive Ray icon if you go to Master Duel now because you watched this show.
No, I know that they do have the codes. That is something.
Oh, they do.
They'll hide the code like in the episode somewhere, and like if you enter.
Oh, okay, that's kind of cool.
But like they don't tell, but they still don't even tell you about the existence of Master Duel in the promo. So you really wouldn't, like, a newcomer would not know. I guess maybe I would just want to see more. Like, do you feel like it even? Because there are some people who feel that this could completely replace the need for a future Yu-Gi-Oh anime. Like,
I don't know. I don't think it could. I don't think it'd scratch that itch. It's cool to have the laws told, but I would never be as invested in stories about the archetypes as I would about an actual character going through and dueling, because that's what the game's about, really. It's about the actual dueling. That's what you're doing when you play the game. So I'd much rather have a new thingy, but it's cool to get the Chronicle stories, but I wouldn't want it to take up resources from anything else.
Right.
And like you said, I bet these are expensive. I watched Giguk from the anime guy. He made his own anime, and I can't remember how much he said he spent, but it was just like I think it was like 15 minutes his anime altogether. He spent hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars or something on it. So
like there's so much work that goes in, and that's why I'm always surprised that they're not like using it as more direct advertisement to recoup the cost or something. Because like it's again, it's fan service is cool, and I guess it's comparable to like the Pokemon generations and Pokemon, or like if you remember when Pokemon will kind of do those. But I think that even with those, they're more clearly directing you toward the games. Whereas I feel like with these, it's not as much the case. It's I would love to. We should definitely continue to have them, but I hope that they would never try to replace the need for a new Yu-Gi-Oh anime with them.
I hope the reason we haven't had a new series talked about now isn't because of the Chronicles thing. I hope that is also happening alongside.
Distribution, like, and like dubbing. How do we feel about that? Because for me, I know that Vrains eventually got a dub, but I know it was a fair bit late. And so at first it was only on Crunchyroll, but like as a subbed anime. And, you know, Crunchyroll is a big deal, but it's by no means like the equivalent of it something being on TV. How do you feel about that?
This has probably been my weakest thing because Duel Monsters, I watched on TV as a kid on like what, Toonami or Fox Kids or what? I can't even remember what channel it was on.
I think was where I saw it.
And then GX I watched on TV, and that was like, I think I was in high school, secondary school at that point. So I stopped watching TV Yu-Gi-Oh as much. And I never watched Zexal and 5Ds while they're on TV because I stopped watching the franchise. I did play the game still then. And then when I started doing the YouTubing, I started going back and watching everything. And then when Arc-V Vrains came out, I watched all those online. And now the way I consume watching the old series is through Crunchyroll. But yeah, I guess for a younger audience, you want them on TV before they go to school. That's how you get them. But I don't know. I don't have any normal TV in my house anymore.
Yeah, I know. It's funny you say that.
I didn't know it's on TV.
Yeah, I don't know actually. Like, I guess we're just like aging ourselves here, but I actually don't know how much regular TV kids even watch today. Like, I don't know. Is it just kind of like your parent throws you the remote and like you just go on Netflix and find what you want to watch? Like you watch Bluey or whatever, or is there like still like typical television channels where like shows just air like on a schedule? Like I'm not really sure what that looks like. I think that one important part about it though is like when Vrains was airing, they would make new decks, like it's the Soul Burner structure deck, and they would say like, you know, go watch Yu-Gi-Oh Vrains on Crunchyroll. But I feel like I guess that didn't hit the same as like organically encountering it on TV. Like,
yeah, I mean, it's another subscription service you have to pay for as well. Is everyone paying for Crunchyroll alongside their Netflix, Amazon Prime, and whatnot? So, yeah,
I guess if you can get it on Netflix too, that's because Pokemon's on Netflix and stuff now. So,
yeah, I mean, I guess it depends if younger kids anime, like a lot of anime is very mature. It's more for like teens, isn't it?
Yeah.
And Yu-Gi-Oh, some of it skews more towards a younger age, like Zexal's like PG friendly and everything for the most part. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if kids watch Crunchyroll. Not sure.
Yeah, I don't know, and so I think that if we make a new Yu-Gi-Oh anime, actually like as if the two of us are going to be making it.
We'll do it. We'll do it.
But I mean, I do think like it would be nice to still have it on like regular television, or if you're gonna have it on a streaming service, I would say like it needs to probably be Netflix, like the thing that at least the most average households can be expected to have.
Maybe Netflix could fund an anime original Yu-Gi-Oh series. I mean, they could go for it if they wanted to.
Yeah, and also one good thing about Netflix, at least I notice, is like whenever Netflix like licenses anime, they tend to dub it like on release, because I think that getting it dubbed fast is key. Like people like us will watch. I'm assuming that we'll watch subbed anime, whatever.
I more or less exclusively watch the sub,
But like,
a good dub is what you want for sure.
Yeah, a dub to get in front of like the kids and the families, and because like we're gonna watch it regardless, so they don't have to worry about us. It's like
I'm sure there's a fine line where they can tailor for a new audience, but keep it mature and grounded for people who've been watching the series for a long time.
All right, I've got two questions to end us off on. First of all, what do you want as the name for this next Yu-Gi-Oh anime? You get to name it.
I'm terrible at naming stuff. This one, my channel's got such a stupid name, TGS.
What does TGS stand for?
It stands for True Gamer Sam, because my original channel was a gaming channel, and I was doing achievement guides, and then I started doing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I was like, oh, what do I call my channel? Just abbreviate True Gamer Sam into TGS.
I mean, I am APS.
I threw Yu-Gi-Oh on the end, and I was like, oh, I want to be more than just Yu-Gi-Oh, maybe. So I threw anime on the end. And I now know that there's a thing called the Tokyo Game Show, so that also competes with TGS. There's also an outdoor place. I should have called it anything other than TGS. But
Dude,
we're here now.
sometimes I feel the same way. Like I'm like APS, and it's like It's like Android Psycho Shocker. It's like Jinzo in the Japanese dub or whatever. But
that
like,
makes me feel a bit better. Everyone just sort of, you just throw it at the wall for the names.
yeah, because you're like a teenager and you're just making. Anyway, but yeah. So what are we naming this new Yu-Gi-Oh anime?
Yu-Gi-Oh! If it was Yu-Gi-Oh 8, it'd be Yu-Gi-Oh Infinity, because that'd be a sideways 8, and that'd be cool. And then
I like
someone
that.
would have the ability to do an infinite loop or something like that. You can throw that in the series.
I love the idea.
But we're
of
not.
that. But
We're
yeah,
on
I guess
Yu-Gi-Oh
we're
9.
9, yeah.
Yu-Gi-Oh! I don't know. What would you call it? What would you call a Yu-Gi-Oh series?
I had this idea, and I'm so mad that they took this because people are gonna think like I just stole this. It's gonna be Yu-Gi-Oh Genesis.
Oh, okay,
But
okay.
like, I feel like that would have been a great name for like more of a reboot type style thing as opposed to like a new thing, because it's like Genesis implying like new, but also sort of like rebirth or something. Like, I thought that'd be cool. I know they now have like Genesis format, so it just sounds like I'm like ripping
Yu-Gi-Oh
that,
Rebirth isn't a Yu-Gi-Oh Reborn as a reference to Yu-Gi-Oh Yu-Gi-Oh's Monster Reborn as well could work, I guess.
Oh, that
if you did a revamp.
That'd be cool. I like that. No, I like that. Like Yu-Gi-Oh Reborn.
There you go.
Like,
If we have a revamp of the original series, Yu-Gi-Oh
kind of
Reborn.
like use the Ankh like imagery a little bit if you wanted to sort of.
Oh yeah, you could actually. Yeah.
Next question is the last one. When do we get it? Do you think we get an announcement this year at like at Jump Festa, or what are you feeling?
Oh, now I don't normally watch Jump Festas and stuff. Do they normally do that kind of thing at them? Announce new Yu-Gi-Oh stuff?
I know it's typically Jump Festa in December is the usual, like that's when they'll showcase the new anime and like make kind of big new Yu-Gi-Oh announcements. No clue if that's like, I don't think that that's like a hard fast rule, but that's just kind of how the last few have been.
If that's the case, then I would like to see announcement this year, like even just like a little tease. When did Yu-Gi-Oh Go Rush finished this year? I feel like they have to announce something, surely, just to let people know that they're working on some stuff at the very least. So I'd like to say we get a new Yu-Gi-Oh anime within the next 2 years. 2 years at max, I would say.
Okay, I'm with you. I'm thinking like, I guess the fanboy in me like has his fingers crossed for like this year at Jump Festa, like in December we get a small little teaser. I only want like, it can just be like a logo, it can be, you know, just a 5-second fade to black kind of confirmation. That's fine. And then have the thing itself release within the next like 18 months, we'll say. Like, I don't know, something like that. Okay, cool. Well, ladies and gentlemen, Sam from TGS Anime, thank you so much for your time and coming to chat with me about this. Seriously.
Thank you very much for having me, and really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I promise this isn't the second time we're recording this or anything.
No, we would never do that.
Yeah, we're YouTubers. We're professionals. We don't make mistakes. Yeah, but this is really enjoyable. Where can the people find you, watch you? What are you working on next?
My channel is YouTube/TGS Anime. I make primarily things about the Yu-Gi-Oh anime series. I'm currently just had a video come out on Jaden versus the Darkness. Could the Darkness have beat Jaden? Spoilers, yes. There was loads of shenanigans and misplays, and if that's something you're interested in, definitely check out my channel.
Awesome. I'll have all the information down below in the description, and hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Weigh in the comments. What do you think? What do you want out of a new Yu-Gi-Oh anime? When do you think we'll get one? How do you feel about, you know, the Rush anime and the Chronicles anime and a reboot? Everything. I want to hear all about it.
What would you call it? What would you call a new Yu-Gi-Oh series?
Yes, that is the key question. What would you call it? Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the video, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Pass turn.